All right, so we will, so to speak, start and land a point to the line that begins the time of the Chochmah, the Emes, Hemien Echot.
Lion starts with him.
But so we discussed yesterday the principle that we say that Tainug and Chochmah, not one coming from the other, but they are saying the same thing. They're in Echot. There is an additional point to be made here that will bring this out even more definitively. And that is that Tainug and Chochmah both have what they have. Tainug has Tainug, Chochmah has Chochmah. Whatever they have, it is not by virtue of their own experimentation, finding it. It is something that it's given to them. And I'll explain in a moment. This is not new, but nevertheless. And the principle that is given to them has a most profound significance. And that is that in Tainug and Chochmah, what actually substantiates that which you have, whether it's the Oinek and the Chochmah, it is not your own experience. It is the source where it is coming from. To put it very simply, maybe oversimplifying, but nevertheless, it does bring home the point. In order to have Oinek, there has to be a total reliance, a total assurance that this which I am seeing, which I'm experiencing, is not precarious. It's not possible that it should not be. Because Oinek means I have 100% trust. Actually, it goes beyond trust. Trust is a word that expresses the decision to trust, which means there's a moment of non-trust and then I trust. Oinek doesn't have the moment of non-Oinek. Oinek does not come from non-Oinek. Oinek comes from the fact that there is only good, only Oinek. And this is why there's possible to be Oinek. The Nefesh, this is what we say over here, Tainug hu atzmi shebenefesh, zehu atzmi nefesh. This is the etzem nefesh. Nefesh, this is not exactly what we are learning about now, but Nefesh, we all understand. Nefesh, we say nefesh has life. But the life in nefesh is of a different caliber. The meaning that it has life is a totally different than saying that we have life in our bodies. Life in our bodies is life that is being given to the body. The body could be with and without that life. Nefesh and life is a synonym. It's one and the same thing. It seems it's called Chai Be'etzem. Like we discuss, our motion for this, to have a little bit of a grasp, and it helps a lot, is the sun. We're saying that the light in the sun is not something that is being created as add-on. It is light through and through. It's Be'etzem light. And we also explained the effect of that and so forth. So this is why there is oinag in the nefesh, because the nefesh has an atzmiyus reality. That's why there's oinag atzmi. Oinag atzmi, to put it in our terms, our worldly terms, I do not have to investigate and to convince myself that I can trust this thing. I go, it is in essence. That does not mean oinag atzmi. It's just in contrast to the way we think. And the similar Inyan is in Chochmah. Seichel atzmi. Seichel atzmi means that I have in essence Dinyan HaSeichel. Like we said, I know in essence, without any proof, any need of proof, without any trigger or any enticement, that there is a truth. But in Seichel atzmi, Chochmah atzmi. And here is okay, so therefore this is the other similarity, the clear similarity between Chochmah and Oinag. They're actually the same one and the same thing. What is Oinag based on? Oinag atzmi, based on the godly presence. The only thing that's absolutely real is godliness. And the Rambam says, this is this is the foundation of all foundations. This is not something that we discover. This is it. That's the issue. Therefore, there is Tanag Atzmi. So therefore, the Tanag Atzmi is not due to the fact it's pleasant and I'm experiencing it, therefore I can relate to it. No, it is the Motzei Rishon that gives me that allows for the Tanag Atzmi. The same is true in Chochmah Atzmos. But what makes me say that this is right or this is Chochmah, that there is such thing as truth, because there is the Indian Holocaust, there is a Motzei Rishon. And to get us a little bit of a handle on this concept, which is not new to us, nevertheless, every time we revisit it becomes a little bit clearer, hopefully. The physical muscle for Chochmah is sight. The experience of sight in our body experiences, worldly experience, is the experience of Chochmah on the Nefesh level. And as we spoke many, many times, sight has all the ingredients that we are attributing to Chochmah, we are describing Chochmah. Number one, in sight, We see things not because we investigate and we convince ourselves this is true. We see things not because we see them. They're real not because we see them. They're real because they're real. When we touch something, it is real because I'm touching it. I'm feeling it, therefore it's real. In sight, the reality is of the object itself. But it's there, it's there, therefore it's there. There's an absolute reality to it. This is why we say all the time that Rahman said somebody who is sightless doesn't have a real world. He has only a world and he has a Darwinian world. Here we come face to face with the idiots. A discovered world. No reality. We reject it outright. The reason that they came to that conclusion is because they do not have a creator. They don't have a Motzurisha. So it says, how can it be? But we do have a Motzurisha. We do have a creator. Therefore, by our sight is something which we can really relate to and make sense of. How can there be something so real? Because I'm seeing it not the object. It's not the object that's so real. The object can be and not be. It is the creator of the object. The real substantiation of sight, what makes sight so real, is because I see the presenter who is presenting it to me. That's the identical thing of Chokhmah, and that is the identical thing with Oina.
So what's the difference between Chokhmah and Ayin?
Actually, this is what this is setting on to do, because that's why, to explain why the nefesh is called nefesh asichlis. So we'll identify it. The difference, in a nutshell, which we're not going to go into right now, is in the principle of what is contained within the Ayin. What is contained in the Ayin?
In the Ayin or the Chaya? Or the either? Okay.
What is contained in the Ayin? Anything that atzmi has everything. Like we say, I'm going off a little bit, but I'd like you to understand this. When we say the sun, we say it all the time, sun is oyer be'atzmi. Be'atzm mehiri. If it's be'etzem behiri, that means that whatever it is, everything becomes bright. It encompasses everything. It's not just behiri within its own confines. There's no limiting an atzmi. Besides atzmius, from the perspective of atzmius of the sun, the sun says, what do you mean you don't have light? It's impossible not to have light. I'm here. How can you not have light? This means atzmi. In this element of that atzmi has everything, there are two levels. They have everything be'etzem, have everything consciously. That's why we've always pointed out. Chokhmah has everything consciously, and Oinig has everything be'etzem. But this consciously, and we said having everything, how can you have everything consciously? Because you are conscious of the fact that it's coming from Oinig, it's coming from the Etzem HaNefesh. Just like in sight.
See, in Tainagatsmi, there's not a consciousness that anything's coming from anything. It is everything. It's in Chokhmah there is this idea that it's being provided with.
Yes, but not been provided with. You in Chokhmah you're aware of the truth of the provider. Like we say all the time, Torah is, as we are heading to this, Torah is representing of Atzmos. Etzem HaMelech. Etzmos. And this is why Torah has no limit. Our Torah has absolutely no limit. There is not a crack and crevice that Torah does not enter, is not capable of bringing Elokus to. Torah has been developing since 3,500 years ago and is still growing by leaps and bounds. On what basis? The basis of its source. Like we say in our Moshe, that if you own a home, and this home is completely filled with your presence, then you double the size of the home. What happens then? Then your presence fills the double home automatically. Why? Because your presence is real. This is not oining, this is not chokhmah, this is presence of the Yetzer. This is the meaning that chokhmah has everything. It has everything because it represents the everything. Or better still, not the everything. Everything is already a chitzonius thing, the essential truth itself.
You once explained Tainug as in the Pavilion as the hashpah of the etzem, or the. This is also the idea of.
Tainug, like you said yesterday, Tainug is the experience of the reality of the Etzem. It says, Tainug is the statement, the Etzem is real. Mm-hmm. This is it's very difficult, but it's very important to recognize that in contrast to the view, to the worldly view, that everything has to has a cause. Ayin has no cause. And here I feel a little bit compelled to explain the difference between a cause and a trigger. Because we said many times, like Chokhmah itself also has trigger. The Gemara says that child's Chokhmah development, to call father and mother, which is primary in the human life. But he cannot relate to Abba Ve'ema until Toyim Tam Dogam, till he tastes grain food. Not that the grain food identifies the Chokhmah, but since that this is Chokhmah mislabish in the goof, and the goof is not Chokhmah, in order to sense in the goof, that element which is completely beyond goof, there has to be a goof trigger. But it's not what's mamshik, it's a trigger. But the essence is chokhmah. This is, I have to make this point. Very, very often it's almost inevitable when you speak about these fine things, and one or the other review comes up in contrast to something else, and I kind of brush it off, and I feel badly, the brushing it off. I explain, I just don't want to distract, turn to that thing, to understand that what we're aiming over here is to be able to relate directly to the truth of it, rather than in contrast to something else. This is why, I apologize for the brush off, but I want you to understand where it's coming from. If I'm explaining to you that this is a table because of the board, you're going to say, oh, because it has these borders. That's not the point. What's the reality of the table? The borders or the tabletop? The border is a means of grasping it. But what is a table? All right, so now we are going to continue. Okay, we are on the line that starts with the word the Tainug v'chokhmah be'emes henyin echad be'etzem. Now, after having said what we said today, we will understand the word be'emes in emes. What does be'emes mean? We say it all the time. But they seem to be functioning differently. So how are they the same? So, emes, what is emes? There's only one emes. There's only one emes. Tainug is based on that emes. Chokhmah is based on that emes. And sight is based on that emes. And this is the pshat, that Tainug the Chokhmah be'emes henyin echad be'etzem. The Chokhmah is not what they do. This is how I want to see it. Chokhmah, because I'm seeing the truth. The godly truth. Ayin is misadik the godly truth. The emes that is reflected in Chokhmah, in Oinag, and in the Gashmis like sight, is the same emes.
Could you look at it any other way besides from that perspective?
Yes, you could. You could look at it with closed eyes. Those who reject this emes say that you see by deflected light, like a cat, like the camera. You don't really see. The whole explanation that we gave now is completely null and void. Like we always say, you could see with your eyes or you could see with your hands. You could see, oh, how would it be if I touched it? This is the animal level of sight. The human level of sight is just the opposite. Like we always say that if you encounter something in the dark, a human being encounters something in the dark, and an animal encounters something in the light. When an animal sees something in the light, it projects what its tangibility is. The human being touches and finds something in the dark, he projects what it looks like. what its reality is, not what it feels like. This is a clear contrast between the human being and the animal. Let's go on.
This is probably off, but sorry. But this that you said that there's only this kind of the Chokhmah is based on this based on the truth. When we say that the source of the Seichel is based on Ratzon, that's on a lower level, or also that's not a steer to this whole thing?
So it's still Ratzon is based on the answer. You will probably have an achievement.
It sounds like everything in Kedusha basically is Inyan Echad. I mean,
yeah, of course.
In other words,
right.
So be'emes, it's not only Chokhmah and Eineg that are Inyan Echad, but it's be'emes anything in the whole realm of Kedusha is be'emes Echad.
Yes, except that when you touch something with your hands, like I said, you have to project that there is a truth to it. Because what you're touching is not the truth. You're touching it not because it's true, you're touching it because it feels hard.
But these are direct. It's a direct.
That's right. The Chokhmah is the basis for all the koiches.
There's no extraneous inyanim in these two.
Chokhmah does not need substantiation. It cannot be substantiated. Sight that needs to be substantiated is not sight.
Well, nothing in Kedusha needs to be substantiated by anything on the outside.
That's true.
But there is outside influences on when you get lower level. You have to. There are. You're in the realm of world, but then you have to. There's reflect on the Kedusha quality, the etzem quality. Whereas here is nothing.
Like we say the other thing, 1 and 1 is 2 ones in the world. Then we say, no, but it's 2. But it's 2 ones. What makes it 2? Oh, because there is the emes.
Right.
And it's not directly expressed here.
Right.
All right, again, about the 13th bottom of the page. The Tainug Chokhmah Emes and Inyan Nefesh Be'etzem. This is the beginning of the line. By Tainug Hu Atzmi Shebenefesh. The Tainug Atzmi, and we explained Atzmi means something that is not developed as a result of any kind of experience. It is Tainug in essence, and it is not substantiated by anything. There's nothing pointing to what are you missing. This is Atzmus HaNefesh. Atzmus HaNefesh, this is the godly truth of the Nefesh. This Atzmus HaNefesh that incorporates and noise bi'atzmei kol hakoyches. It bears in itself all the koyches. And from it they all come from. Right, I don't know. It's late anyway, so I might as well explain the principle of noise bi'atzmei kol hakoyches. Because Atzmus HaNefesh is not subdivided into koyches. Like we said, Atzmus HaNefesh, this is the Etzem HaNefesh. Atzmus HaNefesh is literally a godly spark. What's a godly spark? A godly spark, godly by definition means that it is like Tanya yesterday for those who Mitzuyusim me atzmus. His truth is from itself, from God. They say Mitzuyusim me atzmus. These are such poor words to describe this union, but we have no better way to explain. We have explained many times. The only way to explain something super worldly is by contradicting yourself. If it's a mitzias, how is it atzmus? The answer is it's not a mitzias. But if it's not a mitzias, so what are you talking about? Mitzias and atzmus.
Whereas Tainug has an element of real Matthias?
Tainug is, yes, it's an experience of that that's much of the Like you said, I want to live for no reason whatsoever, because I have this too. But I want it. Oynek and Rotzen are the primary representation of the Etzmut HaNefesh, but they're representative of this. So, Tainug Atmish B'Nefesh, this is Etzmut HaNefesh. Shekolam Neisei B'Atzmi Kol HaKoiches are incorporates all the koiches. Noisei B'Atzmi, the word Noisei means it bears. It means that everything, all the koiches are true from the perspective of this nefesh. Like we say, okay, a person can walk. What does walking mean? Walking, essentially, the essence of walking is moving from place to place. What is the essence of moving from place to place? This is two different places. When you come to the other place, the answer is they're not two different places. Where is it perceived that it's not two different places? In the Seichel. Where does that Seichel get it from? From the Oynek. Where does the Oynek get it from? From the Nefesh. Because the Nefesh is Atzmi. Therefore, there is no place where the Nefesh is not. Like we have the Moshe of the sun. So Koil B'Atzmi, and from that Etzem Ha'oinek, all the koiches are nimtzu. V'lochein, okay, I'm overstepping here. Okay, this is it.
Tonight?
This is it for today. Tonight is Kaponis.
Tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow morning. Usually, no, it doesn't work out. Alright, so have a good day. And for everyone. And hopefully we will reconvene on the day after Yom Kippur. We'll all be new people. Who knows?
We're going to understand this.
We're going,
straight.
we will have experienced it.